Table or truth?
Well, this is a great segue to talk about the recent mass shooting in Maine.
Yes, the recent mass shooting in Maine. That was pretty. Yeah, I don't even know how to. Again, there's so much going on. It's like you don't even have time to wrap your head around this stuff. Yeah,
Do you know that currently, I believe the count of mass shootings in the United States is at 535?
since when though? I believe it.
January 1st.
You mean this year?
That's what I said, this year.
Oh,
So
okay,
far
sorry.
this year,
Uh, wow, it's 535. You said.
mass shootings.
When you
Yes.
say mass shootings, what constitutes a mass shooting?
Mass shooting, I believe, is um, the struck by a bullet,
Right.
whether they killed or injured of at least four people.
At least 4 people.
Right.
Okay. Huh. Curious. How many of these are taking place in major cities?
They're all over the place. I don't have statistics.
Right,
on
but like
which city.
countryside, major cities, are they more blue city? Well, are they
Oh,
red cities?
now you want to go red and blue?
I won't even go there. It's Christmas. You know? We're not going to go there. But
How about, all right, let's talk about Maine.
Maine,
We have
yeah.
a small
Maine,
town in Maine,
good point.
right? You had, again, not one place. Usually it's just one place. We have two places.
What possessed this man to go out? Because he was a military instructor, wasn't he? Wasn't he like an arms,
Yes,
a weapons instructor?
Yes, he was.
So how did he snap?
Well, he had some mental issues, according to reports, and the military was concerned. For 2 weeks, he was under psychiatric care, and then he was released. Recently, his family and the military had advised law enforcement, and with Maine's laws, where you don't have to register or be licensed to carry, and then they don't have red flag laws, they call it. They've got a yellow flag, which is very difficult to get someone's weapons taken away. But another thing we just recently found out was that, the weapons that he purchased legally. However, he did attempt to purchase a silencer at a gun store. And so you had to fill out the application. And one of the questions was, have you been institutionalized? And he checked yes. And so the gun store owner looked at the form, saw the checkbox, and advised him that, I'm sorry, I can't sell you a silencer uh, because you have been institutionalized recently. And so, according to the owner, card said was pleasant, said, no problem, I'll get this taken care of.
Right.
And so he left. But there was an opportunity again where, depending on if they had a full-fledged red flag law, where his family could have gone to court and at least his weapons would have been taken away, and some other things could have been done. But that's, down the road, after some healing comes, where they can investigate.
So the catalyst wasn't being turned down for a silencer. The snapping point.
No. He had he was hearing voices, and so that's he also made threats to the base. Hence the reason that he was uh, institutionalized for 2 weeks with the concerns. Evidently, he had just received recently a more powerful hearing aid, and so he kept saying he was hearing the voices
more powerfully because of the hearing aid. He could hear the voices more powerfully.
Or yes, he can better hear, or he was getting more voices, according to some members of his family. And again, they were attempting to seek some help. But
so this guy was a weapons instructor, but he was schizophrenic.
there has been no diagnosis that has.
He
As,
just
as,
suddenly started hearing voices for no reason.
well, he was disturbed mentally. Now,
How did he
what
get
he got?
certified as a
This is before he.
became a weapons instructor?
No, this his problems arose after he was a weapons instructor.
What caused him to have mental problems after
We
his tenure of like there's
no,
got to be something.
why does there have to? Some people at a certain
Well,
age
he's a good
they
social
may have.
scientist. You know?
What?
No, it's a good social scientist. It's only fair to
Well, it's
ascertain the
early
truth.
yet. They're still doing investigations because they found him in a trailer, um, with a self-inflicted wound that killed himself.
You know, this being the closest thing to a Halloween episode, the well, I mean, this is creepy stuff, dude. You know, you're talking about voices, and I mean, it's kind of unwholesome.
Well, the thing is that on some of the people who commit these murders and then commit suicide, I always ask my question: why didn't you go the other way? Commit suicide first, and then come back if you can and kill other people. But they always wait to take people out. Not they always, because suicide is a problem issue.
Well,
I mean,
there's two ways to look at it, I guess. One either takes the materialist view of everything being explained by neurochemistry, and the brain chemistry is just not working. But that still doesn't justify why somebody would prefer to cause harm to a lot of people before they just off themselves, which is really dark, by the way.
well, it was according to his family that he thought that people at the bowling alley and the other place that they were talking about him. There was anger towards him.
Was there anger towards him? Was he a weird outcast kind of guy that like?
I don't know. Again, this is still early in the investigation, but again, it could be because of his mental illness
Was he taking
that
any
he was
medication?
hearing. That has not been determined.
Did he play in the occult by any chance?
None of that's come out.
Right.
Like I said, that's early, but what we have is what I gave.
Well, dude,
And so the question is, do we have Congress make a law nationally that will set a floor? The again, the if you look at it, having a AR type style weapon, that again, weapon of mass destruction, you can take out all these people. Because if I remember correctly, the bowling alley, um, there were police. I don't know whether they're off duty or on duty or combination. Were there within 1 minute of the shooting, and so he had moved on to the.
well, he was a freaking almost like a military Green Beret there. In terms of maybe not a Green Beret, but he was definitely an expert in arms and it was just a very bad luck of the draw. Most individuals are not going to be arms and munition experts that are going to go ape, just like that. So to generalize the entire population, even in Maine, and assume that this is a normal occurrence would be statistically disingenuous. I mean, it would seem like the most reasonable solution is not to put again, justify a federal law over this so much as let the counties in Maine take precedence to their own gun laws and reform them if need be. But
or how about a ban nationally on weapons of war?
well then, what like are you talking about like semi-automatics or just any guns? Because that
Assault weapons ban. We had one from 1974 to 1994. We had a weapons ban, and according to some statistics, 70% you are 70% at that time less likely to die from a mass shooting.
were all the mass shootings that happened even this year all due to semi-automatic weapons, or the majority of them?
No, but the number of people that you can take out in a short period of time.
But we go back to the same paradox of the Second Amendment, which is if there were more people strapped that could take the guy out if he goes ape, then that kind of mitigates.
That's not what the Second Amendment says.
It's not what it says, but it's
but
what
that's
it would allow.
What you just said.
No, it's what it would allow. Let's not get all like,
no, you said what would allow.
Semantics.
So
here.
what?
Thematically, if everybody was strapped, right, and there were more sensible people that knew how to use it responsibly, they could protect. If some freak just went like ballistic on innocent people, which has happened, by the way, too. Like there's people that have been able to shoot.
Well. Let me tell you of a place that open carry state that you're not required to register to have a weapon, and that's Texas. And you had a lone gunman, not a weapons trained expert,
right,
in a school with over 100 law enforcement people standing outside for an hour.
Isn't that the case where they didn't let people come in though?
Excuse me?
Wasn't that the incident where people, like the police, for some reason suspiciously did not allow people to come in?
It wasn't not allowing people to come in. You did have some parents who their kids were in school, and so they stopped the parents from going in. Yes, they did.
Again, like there's
your theory about having who stops a bad guy with a gun is a good guy.
I think it's naive either way to assume that either decision is going to create perfection, because it's not.
There is no perfection.
Right.
But why is it that other industrialized nations don't go through what we go through? They watch the same videos we do. They watch the same movies we do. They've got internet. They're on social media.
Here's a thought.
So why is it that it's only here?
Could it be that in the American society there is a lack of, again, people don't believe this term, but morals that has degraded. What's the word? Degraded.
Now you got me saying
that. Okay. Screwed people up in a way where their strange, twisted decadence has reached new levels of some sort of irrationality. I mean, granted, people are have dark motives all over the world, but the U.S. has definitely been. People have made this observation in other parts of the world. Like morally, there's something about the U.S.'s beliefs, ideologies that has really spiritually bankrupt society, and that by itself is more potent than just simply superficially getting rid of the guns. Like the idea of values and sensibility and actually like not breaking down the family units and everything else that was good old salt of the earth, values in society have definitely taken a turn for the worst. That is the overall theme. There's more people now that suffer from loneliness, isolation. You could claim that that's a independent variable that causes more people to go crazy, actually, especially in the last couple of years. I mean, after COVID, the lockdowns, things like that. People don't know how to socially interact with each other. That's another factor. Social media, you can blame that.
So they don't have that over in England.
Well, England, though, has their own set of crap, because England's rules are like France. Borderline, like people that... I just had a customer that just came from England. He was like, "Oh, thank God I'm back in the States." I'm like, "What's that?" He's like, "Dude, the rules there are just out of control now. Like the government doesn't really know what they're doing. Like they like to think they know what they're doing, but like things are just unreasonably authoritarian."
I was in England.
You're going authoritarian maybe because you're not thinking at this from a more metaphysical point of view. Maybe that is the issue.
I just asked you why the United States. Of all the
I'm giving you an actual answer, though.
What, that we're morally bankrupt?
We tend to be pretty morally bankrupt, just focusing on our own existence in this country.
And they don't do that in England.
Well, again, authoritarianism is like a big leash that will keep things at bay, but it's not a utopian society either. That's not the answer. The ultimate answer is a free society where people's moral integrity is so potent that involuntarily they are dwelling within themselves with a state of joy, peace, involuntary charity, prosperity that's possible, made possible to the people, because you're not always suffering from economic hardships. Add wisdom as another variable that allows people's health to really reach a level of wellness.
So they have that in Greece.
We're not even trying. Are you telling me that this is not a good idea? This is not something to consider, to reform the social mores of society, to turn back to some values? I bet you anything, if the majority of people really understood these ideas of health
and how
wellness,
are they going to, what, they teach this in school?
I'll tell you what, everybody, let's start a program here on the show where we can start programs like this and just start to, if the government isn't going to do it, why don't we research on the science of morality ourselves and just get to the bottom of what really would bring individuals to a perpetual state of higher health and wellness, no matter who you are.
No, before you do that, you solve the issue of how you're going to get these people to absorb this philosophy.
Well, is this philosophy insane, first of all, is my question to you. Don't tell me unrealistic. Just, is it insane?
What if everyone?
If we could, if somebody could come out there and say, "Here, I've actually developed a method, okay, and just to prove that I'm not a charlatan, this isn't glory to me. This is shareware. This is free. It's the equivalent of open source, right? Anybody is made available this idea, this concept, these thoughts, these philosophies, right? All you have to do is receive it, meditate on it every day as much as you can. Similar to the physics of exercising, let it be part of your lifestyle and start really absorbing and pondering these systems of values and understanding why they're beneficial to your health and wellness.
And you think the American people are going to go for that?
If the people don't go for it, they don't have to do anything they don't want. What I'm saying is that regardless of how we feel emotionally, is this an irrational idea?
If I say yes, again, how are you going to get it to the people? How are you going to get them to absorb it?
Well, we could start with government programs and funding.
So you want the government to do this?
Well, if the government cares about the people, they could put money into wellness programs like this as opposed to in the pockets of the military-industrial complex. You could start with that, yeah. Well, that's not sounds like a hippie idea, but it's not so far-fetched, I think, I hope to God this is being recorded because this is some good stuff. Let me just double-check here. Let's see. Yes. Let me just keep going with part 3 here. I don't think this is so crazy, man. I really don't. It's very similar to a missionary trying to share the gospel message, if you will. But if you don't believe in the gospel, I'm not talking about.
Ask the indigenous people.
Yeah, I knew you were going to
in Africa about the missionaries.
Instead of being bitter,
ask the.
Instead of being bitter, I'm saying like it's the equivalent of life. I'm not saying focus on the weaponization of like Christianity. I'm saying take the purity of ideas that are virtuous, right? If you don't like Christianity, then I guess start with Buddhism. Start with that, right? Start with the Eightfold Path. Learn not to be attached to things, right? Learn to try to create more harmony within yourself and others. And I know Buddhism teaches you more to kind of detach and, embrace nothingness in a way on a higher level. But the overall ideas of harmony and charity.
Yeah, but Buddhism is out there. Buddhism is freeware. Right?
I don't think enough people understand the benefits of these metaphysical laws.
And how are they going to do it?
Well, they first need to understand the benefits of them in terms of health and wellness. They don't have to necessarily follow a religion per se. But if people start to really understand how to exercise their consciousness and renew their minds in such a way where they can really start to see the benefits of thinking a certain way until these nodes become habits in their mind that allows them to just continuously make good executive decisions. And therefore, every thought that comes to their mind, not every thought, but virtually every thought, right, just becomes more and more, if possible, positive and healthy. In other words, if you could train people to become more self-aware and catch themselves before they do something insanely stupid or regretful, okay, well, at the same time, within reason, practicing grace towards one another as we're all striving to reach that place of enlightenment, you could very well reach or create a community that's a lot healthier. Yes. And I would propose that, assuming that is the factor, then involuntarily, economically, there would be less exploitation various classes of individuals, which means crime would go down if people were becoming more charitable to one another. And once crime goes down and there's not that desperation to try to survive and hustle, you should see crime go down. You should see stress go down. Uh, you develop the people to have the affinity to understand the pros and cons to social media addiction. So again, addiction is another factor that you can learn from these universal virtues of consciousness, right? Detachment from addiction. So you learn, as much as I like going on the internet for 15 hours a day and just escaping my world of social media, I realize it's actually not good for my brain. And now that I understand that, I'm less likely to get into that. And then if you fast forward a few years down the line, because I've been practicing this, I actually have more friends around me. I'm not so isolated. I'm not socially awkward. And as a result, maybe, God forbid, someday you don't pick up a gun and start just getting bitter at the world. I'm not saying that's everybody. I'm just saying, these aren't insane ideas. I mean, what's your alternative? Let's just create an authoritarian system, a police state where we take away everybody's guns. Technically,
that's not what I said.
The people in power who have
that
no values.
is not what I said. Assault weapons ban. You cannot go out and purchase a bazooka. I'm sorry.
In all fairness,
that's not the Second Amendment.
In all fairness, if everybody voted that, then that's the way it is.
If everybody voted that,
yeah. I think in all fairness,
do you see? What's the number? 500. What did I give you? 65. 565 mass shootings.
Yeah.
Right?
But if the country as a whole on a federal level doesn't vote for that, then that's the way it is. We just have to live with that. I think to mitigate that, you have to at least consider what I'm proposing.
So, how are you going to have?
Why are you yelling at me? I'm not making the rules.
No. I'm not yelling at you. How is it that everyone can vote for that? There is no national election on.
Okay, then it's restricted to the counties, isn't it?
No,
in the states?
States.
Okay, so if that's the case, then that's where it stays. Maine, it's up to them to get their crap together, to fix it.
But you have one party who refuses.
Then that's what happens. It's cause and effect. You don't live in Maine. It's not your problem. Like, as much as it sucks that this happens, I would agree. I agree with you, by the way. I think there's this is a reality check just to see, maybe we need to be a little bit more aware of something so this kind of thing doesn't happen again. If people are driven by fear, they're going to go to the extremes and create way too many rules of restriction, which is not the right way to go. But at the same time, I think something needs to be done. So the most practical thing to do is a combination of let's consider the laws and reform, maybe semi-automatic ban for a season at a time. Kind of like what we do at work, where we get rid of debit card customers, and you can only use a major credit card to rent, right? And then for a while, we'll relax it. If everybody, society's getting along, we might relax and go back to our debit card policies, right? Same thing. Get rid of semi-automatics for a season at a time. And then, let's see how things play out.
A season at a time?
Yes.
That was the problem. It wasn't a law. So I guess they had to.
Man, nothing satisfies you, bro.
No, it does satisfy me. Assault weapons ban.
Yeah.
Period.
Okay, well,
law.
Good luck trying to get that up in Maine. I don't know if that's going to work, bro.
That's why I said not state by state, a federal law.
No, it's not. Why do you feel that the federal law has to be instigated if the case happened in Maine? In an alternate universe, if it never happened, you wouldn't feeling this
565. That's why it's not just Maine. Maine is just the recent one. It's not just Maine. We're averaging a mass shooting per day.
Yeah, but people are being naive and completely ignoring what I just said about one of the variables as to why this happens. It's consciousness. It's unhealthy mental nurturing, because our society has no concept of spiritual wellness. It's very hard to reach that, I might add. I'm not trying to not sympathize with people that are down on their luck. I'm saying we're not even trying. All right, we should actually. I think the most practical way to go about this, and I'm just going to say it, this is my opinion. Maine, it's up to them to decide what they want. There's no point whitewashing the entire country out of fear because of this incident in Maine. What they should do, though, simultaneously, is educate people on the drawbacks to semi-automatics. That's fair. But at the same time, start pushing in programs that are going to help people learn a little more psychology for free, wellness, mental wellness, right? Learn how to like really develop a healthy chi inside of your body, for lack of a better word, that's going to allow you to be more sociable, more self-aware, more at peace, right? If you can't do that, then yeah, it's easier for people to just flip out. Okay, you do both. You can't just like assume let's just put a federal, but that's not going to solve crap after it. It's got to be a combination of what you're saying, giving people the chance to actually make that decision for themselves, and not stressing if you don't even live there. You're just like, well, okay, it's your call. You don't have to visit Maine. I'm not disagreeing that it's something should be done up there, but they should take precedence as to how they want to build their system. And then, yes, I do think federal programs for health and wellness, not just because I'm a trainer, but literally, I think this is essential in society right now that will really teach people values. If they don't like the idea of religions, I can understand that. But like I said, from a scientific consensus, there is a certain universal truth behind the benefit of having certain values as just part of your lifestyle and your mindfulness. And I don't think most people even know how to reach that, develop it, train it, learn it, or understand the benefits of it. Okay, that's why people, I think, go to counselors, people go to church. Those are all good things, but I think the federal government, if they're going to want to put some universal thing on anybody, start with that. Start pushing things so that people can be convicted in a way where they're more self-aware of any idiosyncrasies they may have that actually may be leading them towards a path of self-destruction that eventually could be a threat towards others. Yes. Until they do that, I think everybody in charge of this is being a little bit hypocritical. That's just me. I've spoken.
Okay.
All right. All right. So, is there anything else you'd like to add this fine evening?
No, I think we're good. The ex-vice president has decided to bow out of the race. Did you hear about that?
Pence?
Yes.
Yeah, well, ever since he got on that, went with Tucker Carlson there and just, made a boo of himself, saying that very insensitive remark towards the people. I didn't see how he had a chance, but okay.
Remind us of what he said on Tucker Carlson.
Well, you remember, he wasn't on the Tucker Carlson show. He was like, Tucker Carlson was doing some sort of a rally somewhere, and he got all the Republican nominees up there, and he asked them some tough questions, or at least some controversial questions, and he got Mike Pence to literally say, with all due respect, more or less is what he said, I don't really care about the the well-being of the people or something. You remember that? And he was
no.
You don't remember that one? That was one of our episodes, man. I'm gonna have to again archive these and just set it up. I know that was in one of our episodes. Yeah, Mike Pence was caught literally saying this. In fact, let me get the quote out.
No, what exactly did you say Mike Pence said?
Okay, I will. I'm not even going to.
No, I want you to repeat what you just said.
Yeah, no. See, I'm not Mike Pence. I don't remember exactly how he said it, but you know what? You know what does work? The miracle of YouTube. So why don't we find it? No. Mike Pence.
No, but what did you just say? Repeat.
It doesn't matter. I'm not Mike Pence. I don't. Wait, hold on. Mike Pence. I don't care. Let's see if we can find anything. Okay, here you go. Not my concern. That's what he said. All right, so listen up.
What is not his concern?
You are distressed that the Ukrainians don't have enough American tanks. Every city in the United States has become much worse over the past 3 years. Yeah. Drive around. There's not one city that's gotten better in the United States. And it's visible. Our economy has degraded. The suicide rate has jumped. Public filth and disorder and crime have exponentially increased. And yet, your concern is that the Ukrainians, a country most people can't find on a map, who've received tens of billions of U.S. tax dollars, don't have enough tanks. I think it's a fair question to ask, where's the concern for the United States in that?
Oh, it's not my concern. Tucker, I've heard that routine from you before, but that's not my concern.
All right, I'm glad I didn't have to quote it. There you go. That's it, right there. That's not deep fake
that's
either.
Within context.
Okay, within context, that's a terrible.
What you said.
I don't even know. It doesn't matter. that was a terrible thing for him to say. It was
and
mean.
You think that's why
I think it didn't help him, but let's just pretend that didn't happen.
No,
let's pretend the Star Wars sequels didn't happen either. While we're at it,
he was run out of his office because of MAGA broke into the Capitol right?
January 6th.
Right. And so
And
the
he didn't
deal
make
is
that.
why he ran, why he thought that um, he wasn't going to get MAGA votes because they wanted to hang him, right?
Right.
Okay. He wasn't going to get the moderate Republican vote. Why? Because he was supporting Trump for 4 years,
Yep.
right? So what made
Okay.
him think that he was going to get nearly anywhere near votes enough votes to become president?
You tell me. I don't know. I don't know
He
why he
shouldn't.
was.
I didn't know why he was running in because again, you had both sides were not Pence fans.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but
That guy
he's the
took a
first to
sword and
drop.
fell on it, and I feel bad. He doesn't seem like a terrible guy. He just seems like a very cold and callous towards the average person. You know, he,
Well,
he
I
reminds
would-
people of the establishment. That's the thing. He's like the walking embodiment of claims to have Christian values, but at the same time, it's not my concern. It's like, okay, dude, yeah, like you really don't sound like you.
No, well, that recording was in context. However, what he was talking about, and we've said it before with Tucker Carlson.
Well, maybe you
He
should
always
explain-
ask.
Okay,
ask
if you
wild
can't, if you're a
questions.
candidate and you can't deal with Tucker Carlson, maybe you just shouldn't be a candidate. How about that?
I
Well,
I
while
agree
we're
with
at
that.
it,
I
that
agree
would
with that.
explain why AOC is terrified to ever like meet with somebody like Tucker Carlson or Ben
What?
Shapiro for that matter.
What?
You know, and Kamala
Where'd
Harris
you,
is.
where'd you come up with AOC?
Oh, way back in the day, AOC was like challenged to a verbal duel with I think it was Ben Shapiro, and I think I don't quote me on this, but I think Tucker Carlson as well. But I know that Ben Shapiro wanted to like talk to her and give her a verbal smackdown, or like whoever made the best candidate during the debate win, and she refused to do it.
Why would she?
Oh, it was no
Why-
worth my time because you know what? You'll prove that you're a better wordsmith.
No, what
than,
for?
than
What to
kick ass, man? Kick
to
ass and take names.
someone you'll give him more.
Not if you're smarter than them, then go ahead, get in the arena. You know, it's like
it's not necessarily what again.
All right,
Why
we're
would
take
that
the
profit
whisker.
her?
Yeah.
What good? Let's say she
You're right. It
smacks
wouldn't
him.
do her any good. She wouldn't have won.
Well, let's
the
say
debate.
she smacked him down. How does that help her?
Oh, it would make her look amazing. Actually, yeah, if she
Uh,
could outwit a guy like Ben Shapiro in a debate. That, believe me, don't act dumb. Like that would have worked. That's the whole reason we have primary debates. It's to
Ben
outwit your
Shapiro's
opponent.
not running for her
I'm
district.
saying
That's not
in
why
the
we have
spirit of
presidential.
politicians.
That's not why
Okay,
we have
that's the reason why we have
debates.
debates. It's to gain the favor of the people because they see that you're not some like knucklehead, and you can actually stand your own in verbal wit, and you have answers to like things that you're being thrown at. It's not an easy arena, but I'm just saying.
She's
Okay,
won her district. What more?
Let's see
do
if
you
she
want
wins
from her?
this next time around. I'm curious if she's going to
You're
win.
kidding me, right?
No, I'd be very surprised. But then again,
You're kidding
New
me, right?
Yorkers are really like I don't know what to say about them. They keep voting like stupidity in the office. I mean, look at Eric Adams. So it's hard to say. She might actually win her district because people really don't know any better. They're willing to die on a hill that they don't seem to understand is a hill that they're dying on. But that's okay.
Well, we have a opposite opinions of AOC. I think.
Yeah, I know you. I know you think she's cute, but
No, that's not it. She does. She represents her district very well, and she is an
really because a
excellent
lot of people from her
representative.
district actually have gotten up in the middle of meetings and been like, "You've done nothing, and you're a traitor and a hypocrite because you're supporting Ukraine." When a lot of us are not voicing for that, and I believe she was almost like waylaid by a mob during the a speech on welcoming the migrants about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And I'm sure you saw that one on the news. So I don't know how her popularity ratings are really doing because she seems like a kind of like a waffler. But whatever, man. Not my problem.
You keep bringing her up.
Well, I just brought up
And then what were you going to say about Kamala Harris?
Oh, just I don't know what comedy ensues. I don't know, like whatever. You know, today I was actually sitting there. I was kind of slightly melancholy because of the cold rain, and then I thought about Kamala Harris talking about like something about we're gonna go to space, like, and it made me smile because it was just such an absurd thing.
What then? We're not going back to space?
No, that she was talking to a bunch of people from NASA as if they were like fifth graders, and I remember like the speech vaguely how she's like, we're gonna get to go up this. I can play the clip if you want.
No, you don't have to.
Let's end with this.
Why do you have a problem with NASA going back to space?
I don't have a problem with NASA going back to space, man. No, keep with the times here. I have an issue. Actually, I don't even have an issue. I thank you for the comedy, for making me feel better and letting some endorphins, just help my system this afternoon when I thought about good old Kamala Harris just babbling something about who even knows what. Well, I feel like this is as good a time as any to call it a day. Once again, it's been a treat. It's a great episode. I think we got a lot done. Hopefully we solved the issues for stopping World War III. One of you listeners, please, please, please send this to your congresspeople and the president, and maybe they'll learn something, And
we didn't solve.
I thought we brought some pretty good solutions.
Israel.
I thought we brought some pretty good solutions to the world's problems, including my little rant there on health and wellness programs to be instituted to the greater community.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
And I learned some things from you, and and I don't disagree that there should be some reform on right
Assault
now what's going on.
Weapons ban.
I don't know about nationally, but I think the people of Maine definitely at least need to, maybe, just it's a time of reflection, although not to make light of anything up there, it sucks, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll figure it out, We'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
All right, man. Well,
thank you.
Cheers, everyone. Have a good week, and we'll be around ideally next week. This is Claude and Tyson tuning out. Buenas noches. Remember, I'm not only one of the hosts, but I'm also a web manager, sound engineer, physics tutor, and hot dog vendor to everyone in the building. So please share, hit a like, and subscribe to support our cause.